Alright, hey guys, what's up? So I got a pretty franken gun to do a video on. So this is a customer's of mine. I've had it in my hands for probably 3 weeks, maybe a month. I think I've had this in for about a month. It took about 2 weeks for the gun to get to me. So I think I've only had it for about 3 weeks because he shipped it out over a month ago and it took 2 weeks to get to me, which is insane considering the weather really hasn't been that bad. He shipped USPS retail, which is a mistake because that's like UPS ground pretty much. It's over about a week in transit, but it got delayed for some weird reason, and that's why it took 2 weeks to get to me. So this is basically a Franken gun, but it's in nice shape. It's got some nice parts now. So let's just start from the back. So the back, I do not know what brand stock this is. I'm guessing probably Echo 1. That's a really common full stock. It looks like it used to be a rental. At least the stock was from a rental. It says 13 on there. The body here is a Lancer Tactical Cerakote body. So I sold this to him. This is a brand new body I had gotten for working on a gun. And it's in perfect shape, literally brand new. So the fit and finish on this thing is nice. The charger handle's intact, considering his other upper and lower did not have a charging handle at all. You couldn't put the body pins in because the APS body was trash. So now all the body pins are in, so it looks a lot better. So yeah, it's black finish, Cerakoted. Don't know if you guys can see the finish very well, but it's pretty nice. It's got a rubberized pistol grip. I'm not sure what brand. This came with the gun when he sent it to me. He also sent me this Valken Outdoor scope, or a red dot. I haven't even turned it on, to be honest. I don't think it works. It's not turning on, so I don't know. Maybe it needs a new battery. Maybe this. No, I don't know. Probably doesn't work, but that's okay. A lot of optics are just for looks, let's be honest. There's a Centurion Arms rail. I'm not sure what type it is. I'm not very familiar with these. It's kind of similar to the Squid Grip TRX, the round holes. He's got a hand stop on the bottom and then rail covers on the side. It's a very, very comfortable rail, and honestly, it looks good. This rail looks really good. I've seen them around, but I've actually never worked on a gun with one on it, and it seems nice. It's got a 14.5-inch outer barrel. There's really no wobble to it. You can move it with your hand, but by shaking the gun, it doesn't move. I did tell him you might need a spacer to go on the outside of or like on the inside of the barrel nut before you screw it on to space it just a little bit. But honestly, it's not bad. But over time, I think it's going to loosen up. So I'm going to see if I have any spacers downstairs to put on here. I don't think I do, so he's probably going to have to try to find some. But literally, to get this rail off, you just take these 2 screws off and untighten the barrel nut, which is hand tight. So he can do that, I'm sure. The flash hider on here is steel. It's starting to rust. I don't know what type. It looks good, honestly. The rust, it's a very slight rust. It looks good, honestly. I really do like it. As far as the internals, it's kind of a Franken gun. It uses an APS gearbox shell, brand new. It's, APS gearbox shells are meh. It's running a pretty weak spring, so I think we should be good there. And the shell was literally brand new. It was taken out of a gun for an HPA. I forget what engine, but I think it was the V12, because my brother had gotten a whole box of parts, and the guy had said, yeah, I took this APS gearbox shell out of this gun, and put a V12 in. He said HPA, but my brother got a V12 from that guy, so I assume, and that was the only HPA gun that he had, so I'm going to assume it came from that. It wasn't just the shell, it was kind of the complete gearbox, but I ditched all the other parts. So it's got the APS shell, it's got a full cylinder, brass cylinder, it's got a standard black plastic cylinder head, a O-ring nozzle, plastic, a standard tappet plate, a SHS pre-lightened piston, metal rack of course, really, really strong teeth on those things. Piston head is Elite Force, I believe. It's the red plastic ones. Those are pretty good compression. There's an unknown spring in here, and then there's the quick change spring guide from the APS gearbox, which actually has ball bearings on it, which is really cool. As ZCI 1301 gears, I didn't purchase those. Those came in his other gearbox. So those were already in there. It was short stroke by 1 tooth already. The original bevel broke, so I put an SHS bevel in here. It's got an ASG 30K motor. The spring, again, is unknown. I'm thinking it's probably a 110, short stroke by 1 tooth. And then I also had to shorten the nozzle a little bit because I was having feeding issues, so the FPS dropped a little bit. This gun's just been a pain. I've had to do so many types of modifications and stuff like that just to get it to work. In the hop-up, it's a Pro-Win hop-up, a Lonex 50-degree bucking, and a G&G stock inner barrel. The trigger is a Retro Arms green trigger, and it also has a Gate Titan MOSFET, which I do not like. I hate the Gate Titans. There's so many people out there that love them. They rant and rave about how good they are. I've had so many issues with these Titans. This is the third one that I've gotten, and the only one that has working properly. So 1 out of 3. And this thing hasn't worked fully. I was shooting up in my room a little bit earlier, and it was doing pull and release. So when I pulled the trigger, it fired. When I released, it fired. This thing was just going bonkers. Like, I shortened the trigger pull and then adjusted the sensor so that it shoots pretty good. And then all of a sudden, I had to pull the trigger longer, like all the way to the back. And then it fired instead of shorter. So it's like, I don't know. I do not like the sensors. And I've had the selector switch issues. Ugh. I do not like it, not at all. So BTCs are the way to go in my opinion, but the MOSFETs seem resilient as far as taking power and not frying, because that's an issue that the ASCUs have. When they get a lot of power to them, they just fry, whereas with the Gate Titans and the BTCs, they can take a lot more burnt, electricity without just straight up frying. This is the Gate program card. I have no pre-cocking on it because it wasn't feeding properly with pre-cocking, and so I want the guy's gun to feed properly, so no pre-cocking. So there's a little bit of active braking, I assume. I haven't adjusted it. I'm not sure what level, because with this system you can't really adjust the active braking like low, medium, high like with the BTCs, and there's no Bluetooth on it. And, you get the USB, you plug it into the computer, which is a pain. That's just stupid in my opinion. This, program card is cool, but I like doing everything. Bluetooth would be the best thing. But I also like doing trigger pulls, like with the BTC Chimeras and the Mark I Spectres. So, I don't know. That's just what I prefer. That's what I've started using. And I've been using them for years, and the Gate Titan is something totally different. I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. As far as the battery, I'm going to be shooting with a 2000 milliamp. It's about 3/4 charged. It's a 15 to 25C 2011 one. He has a brick 2200. I think it's a 40C, so 30 to 40, I assume. I think it's a 22, and it fits the stock. He said it barely does. This is why I don't like the Gate Titans. I don't get it. That's on full auto, semi-auto. Alright, so I'm back. So I had to go inside and basically factory reset it. Because for some reason when I got the program card out, plugged it in, because it was doing that weird, when I would pull the trigger like 2 or 3 times, then it would cycle. And then it would just shoot straight full auto. It's like the active braking totally quit. So I plugged in the program card, and I couldn't even adjust the pre-cocking. And I was like, well, that explains it. The active braking totally stopped. So I plugged into the computer via USB drive that it comes with, and basically factory reset it, and then it started working. So because when I pulled it up on the computer, I couldn't adjust the pre-cocking. So it was like messed up on there too. So plugging it in didn't simply do it. I had to reset it, and then I went back and adjusted it, and the lights came back on. So I literally just had to reset it it was inexplicable. I had to reset it. So You won't see that happen with BTCs. You don't have to reset BTCs because they start acting like cancer. Alright, I honestly have no idea where we left off with this gun. I ended up trying another tappet plate and a different hop-up. So the hop-up that I have in here is not the Pro Win. It is I think it's a Classic Army. It is a standard type hop-up, but it is metal. So it's going to be more durable than a standard hop-up, but it is your standard hop-up. Other than that, I don't think anything changed. It's shooting about 340, 350 with a .2. Cycle completion, full auto is about 30 rounds a second. I did change the tappet plate. The tappet plate needed swapped in order to increase feeding, so with the new hop-up, increased feeding, and the different tappet plate also increased feeding. So feeding is pretty good right now. I have some BAMF mid-caps with .2s, and then a GMP. I think he's going to be buying brand new GMPs. This one is about 5 years old, 5 or 6. It's been used a lot, and then these are about a year old, so we'll test with those. But I'd recommend him getting brand new GMPs probably. Maybe BAMPs, we'll see how they work. With high caps and mid caps, feeds 100%. Or with high caps and flash mags, they feed 100%. So let's try some mid caps. That's the true test. 337, 338, 335, 334, 334, 337. So fairly consistent. 335. It's 1.04 joules. The reason why he wanted this 350. It seems kind of odd because it is a long gun, but the reason why it's 350 is because he wants to be able to play at any field with this gun, which is, it's smart, because he can play indoor with this gun, he can play outdoor, if he's at an outdoor field, like he plays Hollywood Sports Park, I think, or SC Village, all those places over there. He might even play at Mr. Paintball, or what's the other one? I don't know for sure, but all those fields are outdoors. He can shoot full auto, so he should have no problem there. Let's go ahead and test rate of fire. 33.56, 335 FPS. So that's actually faster than I thought. I think the reason why it's shooting that fast is because, well, it's feeding 100% now, and also because the battery is fully charged. So the battery that I'm using is the same one I was using before. It's only a 15 to 25C. It's a 2,000 milliamp 11.1. Dean's, of course. He's going to be using a 2200. It's a little bit more milliamp, and it's a 40C. So it's going to be shooting about this rate of fire. So yeah, that's pretty good overall. But even on cycle completion, it does have good trigger response. That mag fed all the way through, at least on semi-auto. Try the BAMF. I'd say range 180. Got a Lonex 50 bucking. Oh yeah, 180, 200 feet easy. Try some full auto. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. There's skips here and there. Mag's totally out, so it starts to skip here and there at the end of the magazine, but when I mean the end, I mean like the last 20 BBs, not halfway through the mag. So feeding is much, much better. If he wants to really go ham on full auto, he has 2 flash mags. Just pop those flash mags in here and just go ham on full auto. If you're playing at an indoor field, mid-caps or on semi-auto are going to do you well. And if he doesn't use full auto all that often, mid-caps outdoors will do you fine if you do bursts, you know, here and there. So overall, I like the trigger response of the gate MOSFET. The gate MOSFET, you can go ham, and it just keeps up. So it starts to skip at the end there. Let's go back to semi. Yeah, and that was right at the end of the magazine. So pretty good overall. You know, some people don't mind skipping at the last 20 BBs. It's really not a big deal. I don't like skipping personally, so if I were to use full auto, I just use flash mags. And that's what I do with my high rate of fire AEGs. I just use flash mags and high caps when I am using full auto. So overall, pretty dang good. Cycle completion, again, about 340 FPS with a .2, which is just over 1 joule. Between 30 and 33 rounds a second. You know, it seems to be feeding much, much better. So overall, it's a great gun. He is sending me a second gun. It's going to be a 40 RPS AEG, roughly 3840. So stay tuned for that. It's probably going to be like next month. I'm just excited to get this gun done and ship it out to him. I'll see you guys in the next video, and see you guys later.